What's up, everybody? This is Henry Fletcher here from the Cannabis Dispatch, also the CBD Business Networking group on Facebook, and I have a very special guest today. I have Scott Fletcher of Agros Farms. So, Scott, tell us a little bit more about Agros Farm.
Well, Agros Farms is a family-owned and operated greenhouse business located in Brighton, Colorado. We primarily, our sales model has been for the past few years, has been providing clones and doing smokable flower. We've been doing that for, like I said, the last 3 years. But we're just trying very hard to provide better relationships with both farmers and retail outlets. We primarily have been working directly with brokers, which has worked out here in the past, but we're really craving that one-on-one relationship. We're not a big outfit. I consider ourselves a little bit more of a boutique grower.
Yep.
We don't have a whole lot of employees. So we're wanting to find that small 5 to 10 acre farmer that we can deal with direct for cloning. And the same thing with the retail smokable shops. We're trying to find our way to get a good fit and build those relationships with those guys.
Oh, I hear you on that. What was it that made you want to start Agros Farm too?
We had been looking at the hemp industry for a little while. We were kind of waiting to get our feet wet. We brought in a master grower as a consultant. It was very important to us that we would not, have to have our learning curve by mistakes. We wanted to be able to be proactive in that area and be able to have that advice. And it got it kicked off pretty well right off the beginning. It's been a learning curve over 3 years, but I think we've got our methods down, and we're trying to find our wheelhouse, which I think we're about 75% of our growth to being where that needs to be.
Oh, that's great to hear too. Out of curiosity too, like what was your background before you got into hemp?
I'm a construction background, so I'm a senior project manager for a commercial builder.
Yep.
And really the reason we got into this a little bit is my partner is also my daughter and my son-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
And they've got a nice small little farm that just seemed to be the right setting and the right way to be able to start this.
Yeah, and how has your construction background translated to the success you're having currently?
With our outbuildings and obviously construction of greenhouses, being able to have dark rooms, being able to have support rooms, especially when the cloning, you need to be able to have storage for that. So it's all the conditioned space that you need to be able to do and how that needs to be constructed and maintained. That's probably the biggest thing. And then organizational skills, scheduling, that kind of stuff, all that stuff in business comes into play.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh yeah, sure too. Like, because with construction projects, you have deadlines, and it's like saying, hey, by this week we want this done and that done. So that's definitely great to hear. And because you were in construction too, where do you see hemp playing into that industry?
There's a lot of guys out here in Colorado, especially, and have been for a long time, building structures specifically for the cannabis, industry.
Yep.
That's been going on for a long time. So I see that still being that way. There's a lot of opportunities, I think, for guys to be able to have biomass dry houses, for that to be able to be more of a custom type of business for those guys. That's probably one of the biggest things with bigger farmers is getting everything dried and produced, get it to the extractor in time without that being too overwhelming.
I hear you on that. Like, it's just like personally, it's like I think hemp has a big future in the construction industry, especially with hempcrete. Probably make lumber from hemp wood too.
Yes, yeah. As far as methods of construction, I see that being a big deal coming down the road.
Yeah, because even too, it's more bug resistant, and then hemp, you already know how strong hemp fiber is as well too. Even like plastic tarps, like biodegradable plastic, there's a huge future on the industrial side too.
You start looking at all of the different platforms that are out there, with hemp stuff, and you see these people that are marketing all sorts of different things. There's probably no limit there.
Because there's hemp plastic, you probably make construction with clothing out of that too. It's like the hard hats maybe, so there'll be hemp made.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely something to keep an eye out for. And Going back to Agros Farms, what was the toughest thing you went through when you first opened up?
It was just building those relationships because when you first start, that's a whole new industry. Even though hemp's been around for quite a while, it's still really in its infant stage. So it's really kind of going through and getting the people that you want to do business with. I mean, there's two things. You can do business or you can do good business, and that's what we're after. We want to be able to have those people that we can just get up on the phone, talk to, have an understanding of what they want as far as maybe a small farmer wanting to change his genetics, however he wants to be able to do that. So we can be a little proactive and be able to, have a projection of what needs to be done. But you want that two-way street between who you're doing business with. And that's been tough because as small as we are, the brokers, as though that we've had success with them, they want larger quantities than what we're able to produce. So it's not a real good fit between a broker and us. That's been the biggest thing for this last year that we've really tried to emphasize, and that is really getting that personal level on those relationships, both with smoke shops and smaller boutique type farmers.
Oh yeah, I think that applies to any business as well too. If you start off and you don't know anybody, it's gonna take a little longer to grow to that level you want it to be. But if it's like you have a lot of existing relationships and you start, then it's like, hey, I have a huge network already. We can get this thing faster,
And that was one of the reasons why we brought on a master grower as a consultant, because he had some relationships already in the area.
Oh yeah, that's definitely, yeah, it's great to hear. And another question I got for you as well too, knowing everything you know now, is there anything you would do differently if you had to do it from day one all over again?
We took our time growing into our facilities. I think I would have probably done that differently. We were being conservative as possible, if not trying to get too big too fast. So we kind of grew into the size of the greenhouse and the other supporting structures. I think I would have done that right off the bat. I just would have went 100% in and just got everything rocking and rolling from day one.
Oh, you would have went all out 100%, like start big?
Not bigger, but I would have probably still stayed, wanting to have our size only get to where I think it's going to be operational for us, but I would have done it day one rather than, only now being 75% of that.
Oh, okay, I hear you. Yeah, because I know, like, because some other people in the industry have said too, it's like some people started big, they went all out right away. Then they were saying like, oh, if I had to do it again, I'd probably start smaller first and build my way up. I mean, there's two different, whatever worked, everybody works differently, but.
Well, too big, there's guys out here that, have, million, square foot places out here to be able, they're growing in-house. That I can't imagine what those costs were. That's really big. That's not us.
I was like, because like for somebody who has no experience before, it's probably better they start off small to get a feel of everything and how the production works. Then slowly but surely they can increase it. It's going to be much harder for them if they started off with a huge field growing hemp. It's good. They're going to have a much harder time learning it.
Yeah. Exactly. But in retrospect, I don't think that we had such of a bad learning curve. I mean, we didn't make a lot of mistakes. And so that would be the reason why I would say we just went in 100%.
Oh yeah. You had the consultant as well too. So that definitely was a good buffer too, as well.
I really truly believe that kept us from, having that learn by example type of experience.
No, it definitely has. Like if you have somebody you can like bounce ideas off of, or somebody's done it before, it definitely speeds up the learning curve. Yeah, and even in this current year of 2021, what would you say is the toughest part about being a business owner?
It's projecting. One of the things right now, and that's why we're really kind of wanting to make sure that we get those relationships, that we can be able to have conversations back and forth and be able to be proactive. This year, we didn't clone this year, but just because of the fact that there's such a glut of biomass on the market. So this year we're going to be 100% smokable flower. And, it's really tough to project what people want. I mean, the genetics in this business change constantly. And you don't always know what everybody's looking for. And you want to be able to have that understanding, early of maybe what genetic is most popular at the smoke shops, what the farmers are looking for to put in the ground, whether it's CBD or CBG. Those are the kind of things. It's projecting how much do we need to invest in what needs to happen for the grow season based off of what we think is going to happen both in the field and retail.
Yeah, I know too. When after the hemp bill first passed, the price of like hemp was really like through the roof. I know it's really gone down though, but it's just like, hey, like people, like a lot of farmers were producing a lot of crops, and then they ended up sitting on it because they realized, hey, the demand wasn't as much as we thought it was. I still believe too though, like as more people are educated about hemp, there's gonna be more demand for growing the plants too.
Yeah, I think like what you were talking about, the other industries that it's going to find itself into, it's not just going to be extracted just for CBD. There's going to be a lot of different other opportunities.
It's absurd how many uses one plant has. It really is. Like, to consume it as like food, medicine, to make materials out of it.
Well, I see a very, good outlook for future. Not just like I said, just for biomass, but for other industries.
Oh, definitely. I think Henry Ford built a car made entirely of hemp, and then they tried to throw an axe at it. The axe went backwards. So it's like, I wonder, like, now I'm thinking, hey, maybe the military might adopt hemp armor. We'll see if it pierces, how bullets go through the armor, if it protects the person.
Yeah, that could be integrated into some sort of Kevlar. Who knows?
No, yeah, that's definitely another thing to watch out for. And yeah, so yeah, if a customer was to choose between your business and 3 others just like yours, why'd you suggest they give you a try first?
I think we really truly want to invest the time and the effort to be very custom and be very personable with that client. We want to be able to have that relationship that, we have a good understanding. We want everybody to cross the finish line. We all want to make profits, and it's all about business, but we also want to make sure everybody is doing well, because that's the only way that we're all going to be able to have years worth of success working with each other.
Oh, of course. I think any time there's been a very successful team or business, it's always been about people working together and caring about each other. So I think that applies everywhere. Yeah, it's like they say, it's all about who you know, not what you know.
One of the other things that I would add to that too is I think we're very flexible. We understand that farmer that's going to put a clone in the ground that's maybe doing 5 acres or 10 acres. That's a fairly good expense for a small farmer to be able to do. And we know what we have into a clone for cost. And we threw out some ideas and tried to get some feedback from some farmers, and it was accepted pretty well. And that is maybe to do some sort of upfront costs that's a little bit more manageable for that farmer to be able to get what he needs to be able to get into the ground, and then do a back end profit, either for the full price of the clone at the end of harvest, or maybe it's a percentage of the field at the end of harvest. At least your overhead trying to get that plant in the ground is a little bit more reasonable. Same thing with the retailers. I mean, we're flexible, and if it's not just bulk sales, maybe it's smaller prepackaged sales.
Yep.
Different quantities. However, we need to help them market whatever needs to be in their shop, we're willing to do.
Ah, got it. And has the internet played a big role in your business as it has become more prevalent?
Well, that was one thing that we decided that we weren't going to do when we first got started, and that was to be able to retail ourselves. That may be something that we want to do, but we don't want to have to compete. If we got relationships with guys, especially here in Colorado, and maybe more little regional as far as how big a loop that we would throw out. I don't know that we would want to compete retailing from a website, but that's always been, in the back of our mind. That brings on a whole nother, servicing that needs to happen. But, we're not opposed to it, but, we'd rather work direct.
Oh, got it. Yeah, because I know right now too in the hemp industry there are restrictions on advertising, especially on Google and Facebook. So personally, I believe it's important for any hemp business to have good relationships with those in their local communities. What were you saying before?
Oh no, I was just listening.
Yeah, I was just saying, anything like that. I think that have a foundation with any local community they're a part of is definitely crucial. And then even too, there's other form groups as well too online where they can interact with other people in the hemp industry. I think that's another thing they should be doing as well.
Like I was talking about before, there's a number of different platforms that are hemp related, and some of them are local, some of them are national, some are international. And we really have this desire to stay as local as possible.
Because you're sort of saying too, like you're more like a small, like handcrafted genetics. You like it's all about the quality.
Yeah, I mean, we want to make sure that that's our service and our quality of the product is the two things that we want to be able to base our business model from.
I kind of like have the parallels to me, like with craft beer, like microbreweries.
Yeah.
I see it. I kind of like see that being similar, like how there'll be some mass production companies for cannabis, like a Coors, and then you'll have your microbreweries.
It's like the quantity of flower that we're probably able to produce at 75% that we are right now. We're probably talking somewhere between 1,300 to 1,500 pounds over a year. So, that's not a lot, but that's something that we've spent a lot of time on. We really, try to baby a plant. There's a lot of different things in our methods that we do right now. We're not certified organic, but we are growing organic. And the way that we trim and the things that we do, we feel that we're really taking care of a plant that's really going to be able to produce a very good quality flower.
Oh, got it. And do you plan to get the certified organic as well?
I think so. I mean, there's more people talking about that now, and that seems to be a kind of a bigger need than it was before. We'll probably go through that.
Got it. And another thing too, like if you were to take a look 6 months to a year into the future, where would you like to see Agro's farms? I
think at least by the end of 12 months, I think I'd like to see us at 100% where we need to be as far as facility size. And then also be able to have those, base good relationships that we're allowed to be able to service the people that we are doing business with, service them well. And then that way we're both doing what we can do for each other to be profitable.
Got it. What would you say the biggest issue you are facing currently?
I think it's right now in Colorado, we're fighting, some heat out here, which has been a little hotter than normal. And really one of the things that we find is the conditioned space, both in the greenhouse and the other places, is managing that's best for the plants. The second part of that would be just getting with the right people, getting to be the right fit. It's hard to network with smaller groups as far as us being able to have somebody that's going to purchase in a smaller group than it is with larger groups. I mean, I could sell, if I was producing 4,000 or 5,000 pounds of flour, I wouldn't have an issue dealing with anybody right now. They all want that. But smaller groups is a little bit tough.
Yeah. So yeah, if that issue were to be fixed, where do you see your business then? Wait, what was it? I kind of cut out there.
I would say it would be where we would want it. It would be excelling.
Oh, okay. Cool. And I'm curious too, do you guys currently grow any THC, or is that something in the works?
No, we're going to stay with hemp. The CBD strains and the CBG strains, we might get into some different strains as we see how those progress. But we really feel that our wheelhouse is more just hemp, CBD, CBG, and staying out of the THC platform. There seems to be a lot of people out in Colorado that have got that covered anyway.
I hear you. Yeah, because you're in the first state that legalized recreation. So yeah, another thing too. What about with Delta 8? What's your feelings on that?
Well, it's kind of going through, I guess, all of the regulations and all the talk about it. We haven't gotten very active with like the Colorado Hemp Association or what have you, and some of the other associations out here that are discussing that. We probably should get a little bit more. I'm not that well versed about it. So I haven't really been paying attention to giving an opinion too much in that area.
Got it. Yeah, because I think Colorado did ban Delta 8 as well, and it kind of like, I don't know. It seems weird to me because like Colorado has everything fully legal, yet they put the ban on there.
I don't know that it made any sense or not, and I'm not really well enough versed of why the reasons why they did. You know, all I know is we try very hard to do what we need to do to stay compliant.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there is politics, probably money involved too in there. I think the ban, I believe, will eventually be lifted. We'll see when, though.
You can always follow the dollar to find out what's going on.
Yeah. If you had to take a guess too, when would you say federal legalization will pass?
You know, you're starting to see a lot of the other states starting to talk about this, you know, and I don't know if I have a time limit in my head, but I do see progression in that area with other states picking it up, and not at the state level to the point where, you know, there's so many states that the federal government's going to have to say, yeah, you know, it's time to loosen this up and go.
Well, I mean, they should see that hey, it's going to be adding because they can tax it, be adding more money for them.
You know, it's just like anybody else. It's just like follow the money. It's all there's going to come a time that they're going to look at that and understand that the tax dollar on that is well worth, you know, looking at it.
Yeah, I know one thing with that specific industry too is like the rate at which it gets taxed as well too. Because like one complaint some people in the business have said is like, oh, there's the tax is too much, but we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, and out here, you know, it's been a little bit difficult, even if you're, you know, cannabis guys, whether you're doing, you know, marijuana or if you're doing hemp, you know, the banking thing is still a bit of an issue. And, you know, not everybody, even though, you know, I've had banking relationships out here with business for a long time, and my local bank didn't want anything to do with us, you know, even though that we were not dealing, you know, with a marijuana type product.
Yeah.
And, you know, but that's still, you know, that's still getting worked through too.
Yeah, because I know other business owners too in the space have used the big banks. They shut them out without notice, and then some of them have actually went to their local banks and they were like, "Hey, I like working with the local bank."
Yeah. So, you know, thanks again, you know, for, you know, getting me on today. I just want to put out there that anybody that sees this that's interested in wanting to work with a smaller boutique type of greenhouse operation, we'd love to talk to you. We'd like to see what we can do and help each other grow and go from there.
Yep. And how could somebody reach out to you if they have any questions?
They can reach me at scott@agros.farm. And then I'm always on my cell phone. So that's 720-383-0539.
Oh, awesome. It was great having you on. And if anybody's still watching, please like, comment, and subscribe.
I appreciate your time.
Yep. Thank you.
Bye-bye.